So my co-host Melinda will be introducing your bio to all the speakers and audience here and attendees as well. So after her introduction, the stage is all yours. Thank you.
Great.
Welcome Neela Gohil on stage. Neela Gohil is a dynamic relationship and breakthrough coach, international speaker, healer, and author of Bridge the Love Gap. With a background in HR and leadership development, she worked with GSK for 14 years before starting her own business. Overcoming personal challenges, Neela has helped thousands of people worldwide. She developed the Bridge to Love method and passionately builds communities through Love Your Life mastermind classes and online groups like Bridge the Love Gap and Lasting Love and Relationships. Beautiful. Thank you so much, Neela. So you can start your presentation. The stage is all yours.
Good luck.
Thank you. So, hello everybody. I hope that you can hear me. I'm really excited to meet you all. And today I'm going to be talking about a topic that's very close to my heart. And it's all about heart-centered leadership and how we can bridge the love gap for next generation success. And I really appreciate that introduction. But I'm just going to introduce myself briefly because I'm really passionate about this topic, and I'm also going to be sharing aspects of my journey which has led me to really learn about leadership. And whilst I'm talking about it, I want you to reflect on how you've learned about leadership. So I'm on a mission to sorry, I'm just going to go to the next slide. Yeah, so I'm on a mission, sorry about that, to really bridge the love gap so that I can help create love and connection and joy in somebody else's life. And I have been somebody that's been on a roller coaster journey. I faced many relationship challenges and health challenges. And, you know, I'm so privileged today that I am a relationship coach, and I've authored this book. And I do healing, and I've got, like Melinda said, I have a lot of different masterclasses and communities that I've created. I've also had the privilege of traveling around the world, and yet, you know, my life never used to be like this. You see, when I look back, I was born in a, you know, very traumatic childhood. And I witnessed the conflict of my parents' relationship. And as a result, I lost my mother to cancer in her early 40s. And it was very sad time for me. And it also led me to ask a lot of deep questions around life and around love. And, you know, so questions like, so what is my purpose in life? Who am I? And, you know, why am I here? And I also had a lot of limitations when it came to love and relationships. I developed some negative beliefs. And I also was, you know, I found it very challenging to actually attract love. But I did meet the love of my life. Thanks, Gloria, for putting that in the chat box. Because, you know, can you resonate? You know, when you've lived and you've grown up with trauma, it can affect your mindset. And you know, that didn't stop me from meeting the love of my life. In fact, you know, when I did meet him, everything just looked perfect on the outside. And we had the perfect cars, we had perfect home, we had perfect jobs. Yet deep within me, I felt really sad because there was just, I remember just sitting there one day on the windowsill and holding my cup of tea. And it hadn't been the first time I'd sat there. And I just remember that the tears were just rolling down my face, because the truth was my marriage had broken down and there was this huge gap in the marriage because there was no communication, there was no connection, and I had a pain in my heart. I felt very lonely. I felt really sad, and I just sat there and I just was thinking about my mother, and I just thought, something's got to change. I can't keep on like this. It was affecting my health, my work, and my whole life. And the worst thing is I couldn't even speak to anybody about it because I had a fear. I was so ashamed of what was going on in my own relationship and that I didn't have it all together. I mean, how many of you can relate? Even as women, I feel, we are so great at kind of hiding things. And some of us can't even talk, in our relationships. And I know for me, I made that decision and I, went on an inner healing and spiritual journey, and it led me to really discover, who am I as a person and what's important to me. And I invested in many mentors and coaches. I even left my corporate job, in fact, and I went to India. I thought I was staying for 1 month, and I ended up staying for 7 years. So I've been on a real, search for truth outside of myself. And I realized actually when we look at it, it's all within you. We are love. We are the love that we're looking for. So if I just move on, I want to just talk about, sorry, just going to the next slide. Yeah, so I just want to talk about, heart-centered leadership. What does that mean to you? Because it means different things to different people. And for me, I believe heart-centered leadership is at the core of who you are. It's about, your emotions. It's about really being true to yourself. I mean, some people think heart-centered means that it's a weak thing, that you're a doormat. In fact, it's absolutely the opposite. It takes courage to be a leader in the world, I feel, and it takes that, somebody that's authentic and they're really able to bring their whole selves to the workplace or to their relationships. And so if you think about this picture, I mean, this picture says 1,000 words, right? And if you even look about this, it's lead her ship. It's fascinating when I think about my mother. It reminds me of her journey. Even though she had so many problems and so much going on for her, she was such a brave woman. She was so amazing, like loving, kind. She never complained. And I think as women as well, sometimes, we're on this journey and it can be very stormy because life isn't all plain sailing, unfortunately. And we do have to navigate our way through and sometimes make very tough decisions. And it can be a very challenging journey, but I've learned through the journey that we need to steer ourselves in the right direction, and we need to move from that pain, because the pain is only going to give us the lessons that we're here to learn. And everybody in your life, relationships, I believe, are the key source to happiness. Whether it's the one you have with your partner, your friends, your family, it starts you on a journey. And without relationships and without a good support system, it's quite difficult to navigate through the journey. So everybody goes through storms in life. And this is a quote from my book that I wanted to share because I think it really sums up what heart-centered leadership is really about. I believe, to live without loving simply means we're just existing. And to be truly alive, to live in that joy, and to feel, we really need to learn to love and accept, firstly ourselves and then others, with a very open heart. And I find that a lot of people that I've worked with, they find it very difficult, firstly, to love themselves, and then secondly, to even accept themselves. So all of this has led me on a journey to also develop something called the Bridge to Love method. And whilst I've got this beautiful roadmap now, to help people navigate their journey when it comes to bridging the gap in their love lives, or whether that's the love with themselves or with others. Today I'm just going to be talking about the heart bridge. So, what is heart bridge? Heart bridge is when you can unlock the power of your heart and you can really master those emotions so that you can lead a life with love. And, it's all about how do you bridge the gap then from your head into your heart? Because I think a lot of people, if I firstly just say the most important relationship is the one you will have with yourself. And I've learned that from my journey. It's absolutely crucial. You really get to know who you are. And when people operate from their mind alone, it's, especially when under stress, they overthink, they analyze, they may take things personally, they procrastinate, they worry, they have doubt. And this also creates negative emotions because thoughts lead to your the way you feel. And I've dealt with a lot of people that have, sadness, fear, anger, shame, helplessness, disappointment, frustration. There's so many, a vast array of emotions that can come about if we don't know how to master the mindset and then listen to our emotions. So one of the tools today that I want to share with you is from my Heartbridge module, and it's the mood tracker, because I believe, self-awareness and knowing yourself is the key to mastering your emotions. And the first thing I'd like you to do is really take time to think about your emotions and how they impact your thoughts and your actions, because it's really key. And also think about, who or what triggers certain emotions for you. Is it a certain person? I get people coming to me all the time and saying, but it's my husband, it's my wife, it's my boyfriend, it's my sister. And I say, well, the thing is, in fact, we know that certain people can trigger us, but if we look at relationships also as a gift, it could be painful, but they're actually teaching you something about yourself and to really look at the emotion within you. And I want you to really think about, so if you have these emotions, then how do they influence your behavior and then your relationships? So, for example, if you're somebody that gets angry a lot, are you pushing relationships away? And really hope that you can reflect for yourself and choose the emotions every day that you think are going to serve you. So, and I know for some people it can be extremely difficult to maintain self-awareness because they're so busy and they don't even know how to self-regulate, particularly when they're stressful or they're in emotionally charged situations. So the key to all of this is to really balance empathy, and have that empathy for yourself and set healthy boundaries, because that's the only way you're going to protect your own well-being. And you might want to put in the chat box, what are some of the ways that you set healthy boundaries? Because I think a lot of people don't even know how to set them. I had to learn very early on, because I don't know how many of you here can resonate. I was a helper. I was the one that really looked after my mother growing up, did a lot, and I sacrificed my own health in the process. So setting healthy boundaries is an absolutely crucial part of self-love. So, I want you to really self-reflect and have the willingness also to challenge and change those long-held beliefs that you might have. And that takes a process as well. But really think about, those negative emotions, how are they impacting your behavior? And even when the process can be uncomfortable and difficult, I want you to stay in this, and get more aware, because the more aware you are and the more you know yourself, you know, you can work on it, because how would you possibly even be able to lead another when you don't even know yourself? So, you know, we've heard a lot about emotional intelligence. And let me just say, for example, you know, right now in the world, we have artificial intelligence. It's here to stay, right? And yet, even in some of my master classes, I help people attract lasting love. And I say, you know, artificial intelligence is fantastic in the business worlds for streamlining processes. But when it comes to relationships, hell no, it doesn't work. It's not real. You know, I mean, wouldn't you all agree we would all love to talk to somebody, even on this platform? I would love to see your faces, but to me, it's, I know you're here and I love the comments in the chat box. Yeah, I would love to actually connect with you personally. And I think when you become emotionally intelligent, you know, it helps you maintain and build those strong relationships and resolve that conflict effectively, so you can adapt to new situations. You have better mental health, physical health, better communication. You're able to manage your stress and cope with these life challenges and lead a fulfilling and successful life. Yet again, so many of us struggle to even know how to become emotionally intelligent. So I'm going to just share with you a couple of practices here. And before I do, you know, there's this, I call it the 3 Ps, which is the pace, the pause, and the presence. And it's so crucial. And I'm going to just share a story with you. And it was back at the time when I was working in corporate leadership and talent development. I had a very a beautiful job. You know, I loved it. It was super stressful though. And I remember one day I was driving into work, and that, you know, all my mind was thinking about is I need to focus on this presentation that I had to give. And so that day I didn't even have breakfast. I just set off into the car. And I remember as I was getting closer to my workplace, I went to put the foot on the brake. Yet that day, there was no brake. You know, even if I had wanted to stop, I couldn't have stopped. And it was a massive call to me. I mean, thank God I'm alive, I'm here. And what happened is I managed to steer the wheel somehow. You know, I feel divinely guided. And there were some bollards, and the bollard slowed my car down, and I went into a tree, and that's what made the car stop. And I know I was super stressed. You know, my marriage was breaking down and I had health challenges. I had so much work on, and I was just holding it all together. I mean, how many of you can resonate? You know, you just kind of max yourself out. You're so stressed. So I'm saying this is so important. You know, what's the pace that you're going at? You know, I think sometimes it's just so beautiful just to stop and to pause and to take a breath, because we do live in a very demanding world. Things are getting faster with the rise of AI, new technologies, and it's very important that we become grounded in ourselves so that you can fully participate in life's experiences and learn from them. And a big area that I work with people is mindfulness practices. And I would invite you to take a few minutes every day just to focus on your breath and pay attention to your thoughts and your emotions, because at the end of the day, you know, it will help you increase self-awareness, and you will be able to self-regulate and become present. Because, you know, if this is just the starting point. You know, I lost my mother to cancer. I also had my own health challenges, and I've had a lot of clients that come to me because they're just not taking care of themselves. So please don't take this lightly. It's very crucial. And another huge thing is, you know, empathy and compassion. I mean, whilst people have spoken about it, we all kind of know what it is, but you know, how did I learn from? I mean, I was so grateful. I worked for one of the most amazing companies, GlaxoSmithKline I worked for, and I was in leadership development and talent, and I was so privileged because I got to learn firsthand from leaders themselves. You know, what makes a great leader? One of the qualities is empathy and compassion. And I remember at the time when I was going through my personal challenges, I found it really hard to open up to my boss. And luckily, you know, I think leaders nowadays, they are so effective because they are coaches. They have an impact on the world. So, you know, I had a beautiful boss, and you know, I found it so difficult to open up. And yet when I did, I remember, like, I was crying, I was a mess. And she just said to me, you know, Neela, it's so beautiful to see you like this. Because I think before then, you know, I was just holding it all together. I was scared of my performance. You know, what would people think of me? And yet I saw this, you know, I saw pure heart-centered leadership in action. I could feel her love. It wasn't just the words she was saying to me. She was actively listening to me. You know, I felt seen. I felt heard. I felt valued. I wasn't just a number in the company. And, you know, she really put herself in my shoes, I felt. And she said to me something very powerful. She said, you know, Neela, vulnerability is powerful. And from that day on, you know, that has stuck with me, and I don't get ashamed anymore. You know, I'm quite happy to cry and show my emotions fully. I think I was somebody in the beginning that I found it very difficult to express my emotions. How many of you can relate? You know, you find it difficult to express your emotions. And so, you know, empathy also starts with yourself. While you can put yourself in somebody else's shoes, you can see things from their perspective. I think the biggest thing you can do is be empathetic towards yourself. You know, you are so precious. You are on this journey. And, you know, it's about being kind to yourself. Sorry, I'm just going to go to the next slide. Sorry, I've just got a couple more. Am I okay for time?
Yes, you are. Go ahead, please.
Okay, great. Sorry. So what I just wanted to wrap up and say is, you know, the journey's been it's not been, you know, all plain sailing. You know, it's been quite a journey, but you can lead your own ship. I mean, when I look at this picture, I just think, God, you know, we can choose to have a life where things feel much calmer. We feel much more in control of our emotions, our mindset. You know, I'm so grateful I live a life now where I can enjoy each moment. I don't take any moment for granted. I also have that privilege, you know, to work with lots of people and bring a lot of love and laughter into the world. And you know, it's the most beautifulest feeling in the world. And you can have this too. So, you know, the other big thing is I'm just so grateful for the life I have. And gratitude is one of the biggest things that's got me through. You know, when life felt like a mess, the first thing I do is I just sit with myself and I say, okay, in the midst of all this chaos, what am I grateful for? And it's a simple thing, but I'm asking you, perhaps you can make a list of the 10 things on a daily basis that you're grateful for. Even when you think there's nothing grateful for, I'm sure there's going to be that one thing, you know, even if it's just like, I've got a roof over my head, or I've got clothes, I've got friends, I've got food, I've got water. There's so many people out there that have nothing. I mean, I've traveled in India, and when I look at the lifestyle they have, and they're some of the most happiest people in the world. And I think, you know, that has given me that humility, and I've learned a lot on my travels because I've lived in ashrams and I've, you know, stayed with all sorts of people, and I just feel humbled really by all the people I get to interact with. So as a huge thank you for being here. I want to make a difference in the world. I'd love to offer you a free gift, which is an open your heart meditation. I think it's the first step that will really help you unlock your heart and connect yourself and your emotions so that you're able to at least experience some inner peace. So thank you very much for listening, and I'm open to questions, and thank you for all the comments in the chat box. It's great to see so many beautiful comments. Hi.
Hi, Leela. That was a wonderful speech altogether. Heart-centered leadership, all hearts all over. The presentation in your speech and the way you talked, yeah, it's really nice.
Thank
Our
you.
audience enjoyed very well. And ladies and gentlemen, she's offering some free gift. You can take a screen grab of this one, or you can copy paste the same link here in the chat window, Neela, so that our audience will be able to, use that. Thank you so much for your
Brilliant.
time. I think Melinda have a question for you from the audience.
Yes, Shruti, we do have a question from audience for Meena. So, how can mentorship programs facilitate the development of leadership skills among young individuals, preparing them for future roles in various fields?
How can mentorship, did you say, prepare people for future leadership roles? Oh, fantastic question. During my days at Glaxo, we used to have, we were very big advocates of mentoring and also coaching. And I think it's very good because say you're going through a struggle, there's nothing better, right, than learning from somebody that's been through it. And we used to have programs where leaders used to actually have their mentors and do shadow work as well. And that really enabled them to really learn directly, direct experience. And it can definitely set you up for success because we don't know it all, right? It's so nice to have a guide along the journey.
Obviously, for obvious reasons, it will be so nice if you have someone to mentor you. Thank you so
Yes.
much for your answer. I think you thoroughly enjoyed the session. We also enjoyed your session. Hopefully, we'll see
Thank
you next
you.
time. Please do post some
Brilliant.
comments about us and spread some love. Thank you.
Thank you so
Thank
much. And, lead with love, and remember that, love is the bridge to everything, between you and everything.
Yes, we agree.
thank you so much, Neela, for
Thank
joining.
you.
Please
Thank
join our
you.
next speaker session of 8 o'clock.
Thank you, will
Please
do.
join Pamela's
Lots of
session.
love.
Lots
Thank
of love.
you.
Bye now.